Welcome back, Lorcana players. It's Poisonous. Today we're going to dive into the new Archazias Island expansion with our first deck list. This is a Jafar list with a little bit of spice from the new cards released with the new set. After this weekend, it seems pretty clear that blue steel items is the most dominant deck in the meta, so this deck is a little different and has different ways of getting under that deck, so there is a way that this deck can be used to try and fight for a little bit of meta share against the blue steel item list. Before we dive into the deck list, thanks as always for checking out my videos on the channel. Your support means a lot. We're on the push for 500 subscribers, so like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, keeps the good content coming. Now let's check out the deck list. The link to the Dreamborn deck is posted in the description to the video. For 1-drops, we're running the Sticky Mickey and the new Mulan that lets you draw and discard to help filter through our deck faster. We're also running the Jafar Royal Vizier, Mr. Smee, and the new Mickey Mouse, because he allows us to cheat out characters early. We're running the new Giant Cobra because it's got a good sized body and its effect to discard a card to gain 2 lore is extremely strong in this deck. We're running the new Jafar that gives Challenger +2 and Quest for 2. We're running Pete, just like any steel deck would. We're running Jafar Dreadnought as another shift target, and we're running Mickey Mouse Playful Sorcerer as our shift line to also sing Whole New World. So we have 2 smaller Mickeys to shift off of, and of course we're running the Striking Illusionist, the big Jafar, that's going to gain us lore for drawing cards. And we're also running 2 copies of Simba because it has a couple different effects. It's something we can cheat out with Mickey, but it also works really well to filter through cards and also pinging small characters like Oswald. For actions, we're running 3 copies of Show Me More. This is a new action that both players mandatory draw 3 cards, which obviously pairs well with Jafar, helps refill our hand. We're running 3 copies of Last Ditch Effort, which lets you exert a character and give a character Challenger +2. This is in here to combo off with the new Mickey Mouse to cheat out characters. And we're running 4 copies of Friends on the Other Side for more card draw. We're also running 2 copies of Find 'em and Flatten 'em. Because of the item heavy meta, I've put this in, although I'd much rather put in something more useful than this. This is a dead card in certain matchups, but I think that we have to respect how strong items are in the meta right now. And of course, the last card is 4 copies of Whole New World. This is an essential part of the Jafar strategy to get a Jafar on board, wheel, gain 7 lore, and hopefully chain that a couple of times for a quick victory. So that's the deck list. Now we'll take a look at some of the combos that this deck uses. The first combo that I alluded to is with the new Mickey Mouse, Inspirational Warrior. He's a 1/1, and his effect says, during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may play a character for free. That means if we can banish something, we can cheat out our big Jafar or our big Simba. This pairs well with the new Jafar, Aspiring Ruler. He's a 3 cost that gives Challenger +2, so he fits on curve with Mickey. If they have an exerted character, then we can buff Mickey up and get a trade and bring out one of our bigger characters. They're usually not eager to exert a character once we have Mickey on the board. So we also have another option, which is Last Ditch Effort. This is an action from set 3 that didn't really get any play, but it has 2 effects. You get to exert chosen opposing character, so we force them into being vulnerable for Mickey to attack, and we can give a character of ours Challenger +2. Obviously that character is going to be Mickey to buff him up strong enough to swing into something and get a trade so we can bring out a big character. The next combo is with the big Jafar. This is nothing new, but we do have a few different card draw options to pair up with him. So we have Show Me More, 2 cost uninkable. Both players draw 3 cards, but if our Jafar is exerted, we're also going to be gaining 3 lore at the same time. We have a Whole New World, which allows us to sing or play it and get 7 cards and 7 lore if Jafar is exerted. We have Simba, Fighting Prince. So he's a 5/7. He has a choice of 2 effects. When you play him and when he banishes somebody in a challenge, you can draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. So if Jafar is out, you're getting lore on that and you're filtering through looking for your next Whole New World. Or you can ping 2 damage onto a character. So there's lots of small characters that would be nice to get rid of, like Oswald or Diablo, or anything else that, just needs a little bit of chip damage. And we also have the 1-drop Mulan, which draws and discards. So again, you can gain a lore and filter through your deck so you can find more card draw options or more pieces. You don't have a Jafar or a shift target or a Whole New World. Whatever piece you're looking for, we want to try and dig through our deck and find that so we can pop off the Jafar combo. Now let's take a look at the opening hand altar and the lines that we're looking for. One of the good things about the Jafar deck is that The opening strategy is basically the same no matter what you're playing against, whether you're on the play or draw, because our goal is just to get as many shift targets out as possible and then shift Jafar and wheel to gain lore. So on turn 1, we have a couple 1-drops. We have Mickey, who's got resist, so he can survive the new Belle or Cinderella singing Storm on him. And we have Mulan, which lets us draw and discard to filter through our deck. On 2, we have a couple different lines here. If we don't have the Mickey Mouse, then we want to drop a Smee to quest for 2, or we want to set up one of our shift targets for the big Jafar so we can play Royal Vizier. But if we have the Mickey, then we want to set that up, especially if we have a juicy target like the big Jafar already in hand. On turn 3, if we're in the first line, then we can play Pete, so they can't play actions, or Giant Cobra, which is a 4/4. It has a very strong body with the new Vanish mechanic, but it has a secondary effect where you can discard a card to gain 2 lore. So if you have too many uninkables, you have 2 copies of Whole New World or Last Ditch Effort, you can get rid of one that you're not going to be using anyway and gain 2 lore in the process. If we had the Mickey, then hopefully here we have the Jafar or Last Ditch Effort, so we can set up the cheat, and then we got our cheat targets of Jafar and Simba. On turn 4, in line 1, we want to play Jafar Dreadnought. He's our bigger shift target, and he can draw a card when he banishes a character. Or if we cheated out a character like Jafar, then it's probably time that we Whole New World and get some more cards and resources available to keep going. So let's take a look now at some gameplay on Pixelborn against Blue Steel. So in this game, we're on the draw. I did get the streamer mode enabled for my Pixelborn account, so I'm able to play now with my hand on display. So hopefully this makes the content more enjoyable. Let me know what you think, leave a comment below. So in our opening 7, we draw Simba, Whole New World, the Cobra, Mickey Mouse, Pete, and 2 Jafars. So we keep our Jafar 2-drop, our Mickey 2-drop, a Pete, and a Jafar, just trying to keep a decent curve and hopefully hit into a 1-drop here. I think it would also be fine to put back the Dreadnought and just keep the 2-drops and the Pete. So we get back a Smee, Jafar, and a Whole New World. So our opponent inks a Pete, plays a Fortisphere to draw a card. So they're setting up an item. They didn't have Belle to put out on turn 1, which is nice. So we draw a Simba fighting Prince here, so we don't have a 1-drop. I'm gonna ink the Smee, since we'd rather start with a Jafar or Mickey. I don't think we're gonna need the 2-drop. For now, I'm keeping the Simba on the off chance that, we pull the Mickey combo off. So they ink a Tipo, play a Tipo, ink a card, and they've ramped up. So we do draw the action that we need to set off our Mickey combo if he doesn't get removed this turn. So we'll ink a Dreadnought since we have 2 in hand, and we'll play out the Mickey Mouse. They ink a Let It Go, which is nice to see considering we're going to attempt to swing in with a big character here. They play the Hiram, banish their Fortisphere, draw 2, and now we get to do our combo. So we draw Mickey. I am going to ink the Mickey here because this Mickey on board is going to die, so we're not going to have a shift target for it. So we play Last Ditch Effort, we exert Tipo, we buff Mickey Mouse, we do the trade. And now we get to play the Simba Fighting Prince, a 7 cost, for free. So I have a choice now to do 2 damage or draw 2, discard 2. And I do decide to do the draw 2, discard 2, because we want to try and get our Jafar combo going. And look at that, we find the Jafar in our 2 cards. So we discard the Mickey and we discard a small Jafar, keeping our 4-cost Jafar as a shift target for the big one that we now have. And we have a pretty daunting body on the board here. He's a 5/7 that quests for 2. And of course he's a singer for Whole New World as well. Our opponent plays a Fishbone Quill, so they are ramping even more, which is going to of course help them when we eventually Whole New World. So they ink a Tinkerbell. And pass. We ink Mulan. Play out our Dreadnought. And we quest with Simba. One of the strategies of the Jafar deck is to try and get to 6 lore, because once you get there you can do the double wheel into victory. So fighting our way up to 6 is important so we can try and pull off a quick win. They play the new Tamatoa. They return the Fortisphere from their discard. They ink and then replay the Fortisphere. And now Hiram quests, and they draw more cards. We're actually quite okay with this because we're getting ready to wheel on the next turn. They banish their Fishbone Quill to play out a Bell for free. Free is kind of a strong word when it costs a 3-cost item, but I think they're just trying to get a wide board in case we do wheel here. So we draw another Jafar. It's unfortunate. We don't need one at this point, but we ink it. We shift our Jafar for 5, and Jafar sings Whole New World. This gains us 7 lore. We discard our hand, which is just Pete. Our opponent discards their hand, and we draw 7 new ones. So we're hitting mostly characters, but for lucky card number 7, we hit the second Whole New World, and we already have the Simba on board, so he's able to sing it. So we'll sing it right away. We don't want to risk our Jafar getting removed if they hit into like Along Came Zeus or a Let It Go, as you can see in their hand there. So we go up to 16 lore. So now we're already in range of victory. If they can't remove the Jafar this turn, it's a potential that we're going to win next turn. So we draw our 7. We don't hit any card draw cards here, which is unfortunate. But we do have a Cobra, so we can play it and discard a card to gain 2 lore, getting us to 18. Our opponent plays a Popsicle to draw a card. They pop it to draw 2. Clearly they're just looking for an answer to the Jafar here. They ink a Tipo. And they Hades the Jafar. So we do gain 2 ink at the very least out of this, so that means we're going to be able to play a lot of cards out of our hand. And then they trade their Tamatoa and Bell into the Simba, because the risk of us getting up to 18 and then winning from there is so strong. They don't have the ability to quest with the Tamatoa and get their free item. So now we're just going to spam the board a little bit. So we play the 2 Mickeys, because obviously the resist is going to be useful if he's got songs to try and ping them with. We do play a Cobra, and we're going to discard a card here in order to gain the 2 lore. So we discard Mulan. And with our last 2 ink, we're going to set up another Mickey. Though we don't have a big target to play it, it is a threat, which might stop them from exerting their character, or at least focusing their resources on taking him out. Our opponent uses Hades to sing Grab Your Sword, and then they exert 5 ink to play another grab. The Mickeys would have survived if he only had 1 Grab Your Sword there. So, it's lucky for him that he's able to remove both and completely wipe our board. But this also means that he's spending almost his entire turn just dealing with our board and not pushing his game plan forward. So he plays a Smee and a Medal of Heroes. Obviously some kind of item hijinks could be coming, but we top deck Giant Cobra here, and now we discard a card to get to 20 and we win. So you can see this deck is quite strong. It goes fast and has kind of a different game plan that can ignore the opponent's item stuff while they're going slow in the opening. We can quickly ramp up and gain a lot of lore and just take the game out of nowhere. So I think that this deck has options and is viable into the blue steel deck. Obviously, they have options to fight back as well, but if we can hit our combos, it's pretty easy to get to 20 way before them. So thanks for watching the video. Look forward to trying out some other new decks, and I'll release some new videos in the future. As always, please like and subscribe. Your support means a lot to the channel. Cheers.